Wrigley with Strategies for Contextualization. Today we'll focus on strategy number 3, setting up peer-to-peer interactions. Peer-to-peer interaction simply means that students work together, either in pairs or in small groups, to practice a skill, test each other on essential knowledge, or to delve deeper into a piece of text so they can understand it more fully. Asking students to complete a task with a partner helps them to verbalize what they don't understand and allows them to help each other without the teacher having to say, "No talking in the back." It also gives those who are reluctant to speak up in front of the whole class a chance to have their voice heard. And it prepares students to study with classmates in college and work in teams in the workplace. So why not do it? If you have never set up peer-to-peer activities, it might take a while for you and your students to get the hang of it. The trick is in the preparation. It doesn't work just to say, turn to your partner and talk about the reading. As a teacher, you have to think about who you will pair up with whom and why, and what a good pair task might look like. Most importantly, perhaps, you need to model the task with one of your students so you can demonstrate what you want them to do. Here are a couple of peer-to-peer activities to get you started. First, peer-to-peer vocabulary practice. Ask your students to create flashcards. They write a term on one side of the card and an explanation or a picture on the other. One student shows the picture and asks the other to name the concept. Ta-da! Then they take turns. Each student keeps track of the words that he or she had trouble with so that they can study them some more later on. Here's another activity that works well for both peers and small group interaction. After students have watched a video or listened to your mini presentation on a procedure, they work together to draw a storyboard of the process and label each step. This is how it works. Students draw a picture and write a short description of each step in the process. The end product will look similar to the storyboards used in movie making. But you can also use peer-to-peer interactions to build reading fluency and to help students understand a challenging text. Let's assume you want students to read a passage on how electricity works. The text may explain how electrons travel along a path and how electricity flows or doesn't flow, depending on whether a circuit is open or closed. The passage may also mention conductors and resistors. All this is essential knowledge for anyone working in the trades, such as construction or in HVAC. Some of your students may stumble over unfamiliar vocabulary or may have trouble with some of the concepts. Asking your students to work together to build reading fluency and make sense of a passage makes dealing with technical information much less scary. So now for activity number 3. This activity has 2 components: reading aloud for fluency, and number 2, making annotations. This is what you do. Pair your students up and ask them to follow these 5 steps. 1. Work with a partner and take turns reading a paragraph aloud to each other. You read one paragraph and your partner listens, and then your partner reads the second paragraph while you listen. Then read the same 2 paragraphs silently to yourself. As you read, put a check next to each section that is clear to you. Put the check on the margin. Then put a question mark on the margin next to a section you don't quite understand, as in, what do they mean, resistor? Now, turn to your partner explain what you know, and help each other figure out what's unclear. These then were the instructions for your students. As always, you want to model the task first. You could use a think aloud to demonstrate annotating, for example. By the way, for this activity, I would pair up students who have similar proficiency levels. You don't want your students to be embarrassed in front of a partner is much better. After a few minutes of pair work, bring the entire class together and discuss the words and concepts that still need clarification. To sum things up, peer-to-peer work engages all of your students. It encourages them to think more deeply about what they read, and it builds relationships. So now for our think, pair, share component. Here are today's questions. 1. What value do you see in students working together? Why not have them work independently? Number 2. Why do you think literacy experts recommend annotation over highlighting text? What's to be gained? And number 3. Why would an instructor bother having students read aloud to a partner at this level? Why not just skip that step and read silently? Well, I look forward to hearing what you think and finding out more about the peer-to-peer strategies and activities that you use in your contextualization classes. Auf Wiedersehen!